What's up? I'm Tim.
I'm Colin, and we're 2/3 of the Shift Happens podcast. And today is a special day because we are delighted to have our really good friend.
I'm Fish.
Tell-
I'm a mechanic, certified for General Motors, dealership side, blah blah blah. I like cars, 4x4s, typical. What this podcast is about.
Been in the car scene pretty long, I would say, in this area.
7-8 years.
Probably a little bit longer than that, in my opinion.
2017, I really started coming around. Slightly in 16 when I started driving.
Yeah.
But yeah, you've been around the area, you've been around the car scene, and you've seen a thing or two every once in a while.
Oh yeah, a lot of good stories. Good times, bad times. But hey, we're all in it for a ride, right?
Damn right we are.
Oh yeah, dude. Would like to apologize again. Our third member is not here right now because he is not feeling the greatest. So that's why it is only us three right now. And then the last video, he was also not there.
Had prior obligations that he had to take
Had
care
prior
of.
obligations, and that's not to say he won't be back. We just want to make that clear. That, shit happens, people have lives, so we just wanted to make that clear.
Yeah. He's just, again, he's not feeling well right now, and we just want to extend out, like, he's okay, it's nothing serious, just a bit of a tummy ache.
Ginger ale and chicken noodle soup will fix that.
Hell yeah, dude, that's the go-to right there.
Now, on today's episode, we're gonna run things a little differently. I wanna personally try out something, especially with having our first guest on, and I talked with Fish to get things in order, and we decided that the guest will have the topic for said episode. So,
All right.
what do you have? What's your topic that you want to bring in?
Well, we're gonna go through like pet peeves, car wise, cult followings, which really I'm gonna roast every cult following that's around. And
I can't wait to get into that.
oh yeah, and let's talk a little bit of car maintenance, because that's something that I see is ignored by almost everybody, especially in the car scene. Because everybody thinks, oh, I can just hop in my performance car, beat it up. Why do an oil change sooner when I'm putting it through more abuse? Or why should I check certain components because I'm putting it through more abuse? Instead, it broke. It's not my fault. I'm going to blame someone else.
Drive it hard.
I see that too much with people that lease vehicles. They don't give two shits.
Especially
10, 15,000, 20,000
Yeah.
miles over the very first oil change. Like, bro.
in
What are you
my
doing?
line of work.
Yeah,
It's a little, it's scary. And it makes me really question, is buying a used car worth it?
yeah.
With your experience, no.
No, not at all.
Yeah, you have a unique perspective.
Why don't
of-
you, if you want to talk about it, you can. If not,
I'll keep it short. It's more, what I see is people come in, they have a complaint, and, I go through, I do the diagnosis, I look over the vehicle. There's so many times where I get a rattle over a bump, and I hop in the car, and there's a pile of water bottles in the back seat, and there's something underneath the driver's seat that rolled forward like a kid's toy. Under the driver's seat, it's like, yeah, I found your rattle. Or the one time I gave the customer back a garbage bag full of stuff. I'm like, I hate to sound like this, but this was causing all the noise the whole time. Another guy has golf clubs in the back in his trunk. I hear noises. Well, yeah, you have golf clubs. Really nice set, actually. But just banging around back there. I'm like, well, there's your noise. Oh. I'm not paying diagnosis. I'm not paying that bill. I'm sorry, you wasted an hour of my
shouldn't have been
life.
Done.
Yeah, like I can't. I've been there personally where I've been like, what is that god awful scraping noise? And it's just something rolling around in my back seat. So I could understand both sides of that coin, but you have the unique perspective of actively dealing with the customer coming to you with the complaint, which is it's hilarious to me because like on social media, YouTube Shorts or something like that, you'll see a mechanic being like, on today's episode of
Customer states.
yeah, and it was one of those wind back cars, and every time the person would turn, it would wind the car back up, and every time they went straight, the car would move, and they would complain of a winding noise.
My favorite one was car came in, it won't start. This was an older GMC Terrain with a 2.4. Won't start. You know, battery's dead. So obviously they sat there and they cranked it. I put a jump box on it. I hit the key. And you could just tell by the way it was trying to start, there was no compression. But after a while you heard a very light, a tapping. Just something tapping, and I brought a coworker out. And he's looking at it, one of the master techs, and he just looks at me. He goes, "That's a timing chain slapping the valve cover." So I walk in, I go right to my right. I'm like, it doesn't need a battery, it doesn't need a starter, doesn't need a fuel pump. No, it needs a motor. And he goes, "What do you mean?" I said, "I bet you if I pop that valve cover off, the chain's nowhere to be found. It's probably either laying on one of the cam sprockets or it's laying in the pan." And he goes, I said, "Did the customer say if they were driving this thing when it died or no?" And he just looked at me and said, "No, they just had towed in saying car won't start." It's like, sorry to tell you.
You're going to need a long block, my friend.
Yeah, I think we started pulling it apart, and it was catastrophic. And the 2.4s, it's either a chain snaps and you have a horseshoe in your ass, nothing kissed each other, or you pull that oil pan off and it grenaded itself. Fun stuff. And even with like the newer anything that has a 6.2 GM engine, it won't start, or this and that. Yeah, go to start it, all you hear is the click of the starter. At that point with a 6.2, you grab a bar, you put on the crank pulley, make sure it spins, because they just lock up. And then my coworkers and I, we have bets of which cylinders did the main bearings and the rod bearings get wiped out of this time.
4 and 8.
Oh, we have a pool. It's pretty entertaining. It's like Super Bowl squares.
In the wise words of Mike Tyson, when you blow your valve or your cam chains, your piston and your valve, they now kiff.
Yes.
Know a little something about that.
No, yes you do.
Know a little
Actually,
bit
wait.
about that.
Did your valves ever kiss your pistons, or did we not find that out?
We didn't find that out yet because we didn't take the block apart, but
God.
the spark plug was smashed in, so it definitely made contact. You can't tell me it didn't.
Yeah.
And I will insert picture here. That's coming up. That is coming up. The catastrophic damage that was done to my motor. That'll be soon.
35 pounds of boost on a 2.0.
Stock block.
What?
Stock internals.
Yeah, that's fun.
I mean, I slung a rod on. I had 94 Grand Cherokee. I slung a rod on it. I kept driving it. It was a 4-liter. Yeah. They run 50 miles without oil and a window in the block.
I love those 4 liters, man. Those are such great motors.
Best $800 pilot shit I ever bought. But I was 16. I didn't care. I just drive, foot to the floor.
Oh, God.
It leaked everything known to man.
And it still ran.
Yeah, for the most part. Until I broke it.
Dude, Jesus. You want to talk about $800 and 16 years old. I paid $500 for that ugly maroon GMC Jimmy.
Oh
Ooh.
God.
Yep, that was my first car, and that thing did not have any that did not have any connecting rod bearing left in it because you'd hear if you got over 3,200 RPM, that thing would shake.
Well, they said those 4.3s ran like garbage forever.
Well, yeah.
I knew
mean,
somebody who had one. It just felt like it had dead mist the whole time. And, you know, the fueling, because I had Spire injection, you did the injection circuit, whatever, the spider, plugs, the coil, distributor, all that just ran like garbage. And even any 4.3 powered vehicle I hop in, they just vibrate. They just run like absolute shit. Nobody can explain it. Maybe it's because it was a V8 with 2 cylinders chopped off, because that was the original design, and it was never properly balanced.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Did it have a harmonic balancer?
But I'm saying internally balanced.
Oh.
Harmonic is external balancing.
Yeah, that's true.
And that only does so much.
Yeah.
If a crankshaft's out of balance, prime example, the 5-cylinder that used to be in the Canyons, Colorados,
Oh, and the Hummer.
Yep.
and the Hummer H3,
Yep.
those were never properly balanced, and they just shook.
Oof.
But straight pipe, they sounded kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean, like people straight piped them to try and make them sound like an Audi inline 5.
Yeah. Inline 5s are really interesting engines. They really are.
RS3.
RS.
It's half an Audi V10.
You know, Ford in Europe did something like that with a Focus RS.
2.5 Focus RS that we
Yeah.
never got in the States because the States doesn't get any cool shit.
Well, because hot hatches in Europe is like how we view muscle cars.
Insert chicken tax here.
Well, that's for mini trucks.
That's for mini trucks, but that's the main reason why we don't get a lot of imports is because they either don't meet up to our emissions or the chicken tax.
And also, because it took how many years
We
for
gotta
them
look at
to
the,
get the
you gotta look
Focus
at the-
RS?
You gotta look at the demographic too, of what people are buying though.
Screw that! No, I want a Toyota Hilux.
I'm saying for companies that are putting out cars in different countries.
Because you gotta look
Americans muscle big trucks, now small trucks, and SUVs.
I
Which is
don't.
why there's nobody making really sedans anymore.
Cadillac, I think, is really the
BMW.
only one.
BMW makes
American-wise.
sedans.
Does Ford still have
Infiniti?
anything?
Infinity may or may not. Altimas with
Yeah,
Nissan.
that's Nissan. Infinity still has it. All the import brands do. I
don't think any American
Chevy,
cars besides muscle cars.
Chevy, I don't even think they have the Malibu anymore. I know the Impala's been discontinued. Buick doesn't have a sedan. Cadillac
Yeah, they got
has
the
a
Invista,
CT4.
which is a car.
That's a Daewoo. That's made in China.
Little car slash
Yeah.
crossover.
It's a
SUV.
crossover, just like the Encore, the Invista.
All right.
So ugly.
When Tim edits this video, I want him to insert a picture of a HSV Malo Type R. I believe is what the car is called. It's the modern day El Camino, but it has a Cadillac LSA supercharged engine in it. I don't care. I don't care. Every man out there will see this car and think it is either really cool or really ugly. It is that divided. It is the modern day El Camino, and I would pay. I would sell my house if I know I could get one in the States. I don't care. I love that car.
You're talking about
so
a Ute?
cool. Yes, a Ute.
Yeah.
You know, somebody imported an HSV wagon. There's one for sale in Pennsylvania. And it's like 75 grand. It's sweet.
Oh.
Wagons are cool. I wish those made a comeback.
CTSV wagon.
Yeah.
What
I
do you
would
mean they
take
made
that any day. of the
No,
week, I would
nobody
take
makes
that.
like a station wagon anymore. It's all
Audi.
RS6 Avant?
Audi.
that's German. I'm saying American station
Oh.
wagon. I
Oh,
like
yeah, we
big
don't-
dumb
yeah, we
American
don't-
boat cars. Okay.
See, and that's the demographic that.
And that's
lot
a
of us are going
dying
to.
breed. The longest production American sedan is the CT5.
C7 Corvette Aero Coupe. That's a cool one.
Mm-hmm.
People, I don't know if it's still a thing, but
That was a custom build thing. It was
Yeah.
never factory.
it was never factory, but it was still cool, and
Yeah.
like I'd want one. The new Hellcat Charger. People put renders out there. I don't know if it's a real thing yet, but I know there was a company that was trying to do a wagon kit for the Hellcat Charger.
Yeah,
I'll believe
making
it
a
when I see
modern
it.
Magnum.
Like I said,
If it's not a concept and it actually makes it to fruition and being produced, then it's
I
legit in
completely
my
forgot
book.
about Dodge.
Just like your
fucking
Corvette
sedan.
argument that you want to say that the Corvette originated as a mid-engine yada yada yada.
the C2 was supposed to be a mid-engine car. I don't care what anyone says.
It's a concept, never made it to fruition. But anyway,
Well, actually, no. You know what? We did have a wagon for a little while. Dodge Magnum RTs.
Oh yeah,
could you count the Ford Flex?
that's. I'd say that's technically a wagon.
It rode like a car, but it was long, like
it was
an
long and
SUV.
sleek.
Ford screwed up that one good. Like, you could have put a 5.0 in that thing.
It's 3.5 EcoBoost, good enough. And at the time, they were throwing the 3.5 and everything.
Yeah.
But we're talking muscle cars. Muscle car wagons.
You're talking just wagons in general.
No, the Magnum is considered
It is.
a muscle car.
I
because
understand
it had-
that, but you were saying
Yeah.
wagons in general, so I'm just throwing it out there.
Yeah, the Flex was a wagon. I know the Buick Regal Torex was also a wagon.
And I'm still going to take that 3.5 over a 5.7 because they're dog shit slow.
Honestly, they're like, okay, just going into generics about wagons, like what was the one wagon that Buick released?
the Regal Torex.
That thing looks sweet.
That was a sleek car, and the ones I cover through my work now have well over 100,000 miles, and
I
people
remember when
love
Buick
them.
used to be cool.
When did Buick stop being cool? That would have been
Yeah,
End of the 80s.
Right around.
End of the 80s, early 90s, when the G body
Yeah.
was gone, and then after the Roadmaster was
And that's
demise.
when Pontiac kind of took over doing the more experimental BS.
Yeah.
And then they got the can, which to this day,
Well,
The
Oldsmobile was the original experimental brand of GM.
that is true.
It started with Oldsmobile, and if it was good enough to go to Cadillacs, it went to Cadillacs, and the rest of it, I could go on the whole spiel of GM and killing brands and doing this. It was the year of the Pontiac Montana, the Chevy Uplander, the Buick variant. That killed everything. You didn't need 4 different nameplates of a minivan, though. Maybe 2. Okay, that's fine.
what, the Chevy North Star.
Kind of like what they got now with Chevy and GMC.
Chevy GMC Buick. The Equinox.
Well, no, I'm saying
Wow.
like Chevy. That is true too, but Chevy with the 1500s and then the silver.
Because GMC
Sierras.
is supposed to be like the boss's truck. But the original part of GMC was the commercial side of General Motors. That was their work trucks and all that. And then for some reason somebody goes, my GMC is more luxurious than a Chevy, even though it's uglier looking. Up until, this is all my fair opinion, up until the recent years, Chevy always looked better than the GMC.
I would have to agree.
And then this current body style, I think the GMCs look a lot better. The Chevy HDs the past few years are disgusting. I drive a 17, and that, in my opinion, was the best modern heavy duty
I second that.
since 02. The 02 HDs were good. The cat eyes are hideous. I know every pickup truck guy is going to go after me after this video. Because the cat eye is the ugliest Chevy truck besides the new HDs.
Well, thanks for coming on, Fish. Looks like we're gonna have to end this one. Bye-bye.
Okay,
You
bye.
just started a war. We do not condone anything that Fish just said. Just letting you know, if you want to send hate towards him, send it towards him. Not
Yes.
us. We didn't say it.
It won't change my mind.
But no, yeah, they're.
He's not entirely wrong,
I'm not.
but
included in this conversation.
But he's not 100% right either.
But going back to the GMC and Chevy thing, GMC was always supposed to be the work truck. And then over the years, they started adding more trim packages to appeal to richer demographics. That's where you got the Denali's and
That
Yeah.
had to have started in
late 90s.
Yeah.
Late 90s, early 2000s. And then there was never a heavy duty Denali up until I think
That would have been 2000. With Saint
5 or
Cat Eye.
6.
the Cat Eye.
Yeah, 04 and a half or 03 and a half, whatever. But yeah, it's always been GMC was the work truck, and then Chevy took over that, and it's weird having both brands are the same thing, because then you have the Yukon, which is a Tahoe and Suburban, Yukon XL, blah blah blah,
Canyon.
Canyon,
Colorado.
Colorado.
The Acadia Equinox.
No, Acadia. The first
Acadia
generation Acadia was
Terrain
the
and
Traverse,
Equinox.
Terrain and Equinox,
That's the one.
and then recent years the Acadia was actually a different platform than the Traverse, and now they're back to their old roots with the new body style, where the Enclave, Acadia, Enclave, Traverse, now they're the same again.
Yeah.
But wait, wouldn't the Envision share with?
No, the
What does the
Envision
Envision
is a
share with?
completely different vehicle.
What?
But it's still a mid-size SUV.
It's a mid-size SUV, same class, but
But because isn't the Enclave
because the Enclave is
large?
a larger
Full
mid-size.
size?
I don't think it's technically a full size, because the Yukon, Tahoe, Escalade, those are all considered the full-size
I think
SUVs.
It's weird over there, man.
It's weird. That might be the mid-size SUV, and then the rest are crossovers.
Hmm.
It's such a weird designation. I don't know. But the Envision, everybody thought was same platform as Equinox Terrain. Those two were built in the U.S. or whatever plant, same plant. Buick Envisions were completely built in China. And a big thing with that is, in China, Buick is their premium brand. They don't have Cadillac or any of that.
Well, that's
And
news to me.
then the Invista and Encore, those are built in Korea. And the only American Buick is the Enclave. So when you see these people going buy American driving their Buick Encores, they're driving something from Korea. Or same deal with their Envision. That's Chinese, and actually during COVID, when we got a shipment of Envisions, we couldn't touch them for 2 weeks.
Oh, I see. Okay, that makes
Same,
sense.
anything that was an
Wow.
import from Asia, we were not allowed to physically touch them. The company policy from the dealership, leave them.
Wow. I didn't realize
Yeah.
that. That's crazy.
It's good to know.
But that's just some, recent history.
Huh.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that I honestly didn't know any of that. That's yeah. No, that's crazy. I didn't. Well, damn. But no, I know that was one of the topics you wanted to bring up, and I also know of another one that you wanted to bring up, and what really grinds your gears about some of the customers that you have come in? I'm genuinely curious because you brought this up, and I want to hear about it.
It's like I said earlier, it's a whole complaint about something. You go through the diagnosis, you make the quote, parts you need, the job that needs to be done, and they go, I'm gonna take it to someone who does it cheaper. And then 2 weeks later, it's on a tow truck because the guy who did it cheaper did it cheaper, obviously, and did it completely wrong. And now I'm undoing his work to do my work, and we're charging him double. And then they're complaining again. Why is it more this time? Well, because I had to undo what your guy did, because he hacked your car. That's my biggest pet peeve with my customers. They'll complain. You give the solution, the quote, everything. Then they're like, no, I don't want to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's.
And high dollar vehicles that are just, you hop in it and you want to throw up because it smells bad. There's garbage everywhere.
There was one other thing that you brought up along with this, and it was people doing dumb things with their dash, specifically Jeep.
Oh, this is just in general now. People that bedazzle everything.
Make a claymore out of their steering wheel.
Yeah, their airbag. It's always on the steering wheel. They have all this bedazzle stuff. It's like, oh yeah, it's pretty, but
You get in an accident. That's a bomb.
They're just everywhere. You build a frag grenade,
You're done. You are done.
and those airbags hurt.
Yeah, they come out at 200 plus miles an hour.
They hurt, and saying that stuff is a safety hazard. But as well, I noticed the stupid rings that go around your push button starts.
Oh no.
Those actually interfere with the transmitter on your key fob, and the signal it actually interferes with it, and you'll constantly have issues where it says key non-vehicle. You remove that ring, it's gone.
Huh.
And people just think, oh, accessorize. I get it. You want to make your car look pretty on the inside because that's where you spend most of your time. How about you wash your exterior? Wash your exterior and not ram into curves going, oops, hee, I'm such a Sagittarius or asparagus, whatever their astrology side is.
Oh my god.
The amount of
I
wheel
like that.
damage I see.
Oh god.
Can you patch this tire? No, your rim is blown apart. And the sidewall's missing. Like, where did your sidewall go? GMC Terrain got towed in. Bald tires, Can you patch this? I'm looking at, and where I work, we have service writer assistants that walk around the vehicle, do a damage sheet. I remember grabbing the assistant that did the sheet, the walk around. I looked and I said, do you notice that a quarter of the rim's missing?
Wait, what? What?
Literally.
Does it not surprise me?
I don't know if I have a picture on my phone of this. But it was bad. When I say bad, I wasn't.
Oh my
as
god!
bad. But, yeah. Literally, a chunk of rim just blown right off.
Send me that so I can upload it right here.
Yes. Yes. Oh my god.
It's like,
How is it holding tire pressure?
It wasn't.
That's
What?
freaking insane.
That's a picture of it on the lift. Because I couldn't get to a spare because this thing was on, pack rat vehicle. Hoarder cars, as we call them.
Oh god.
Stacked all the way to the back, so I couldn't get the spare out. And I didn't want to. Because those are the customers too. If one thing's out of place, their car's an absolute disaster. But one thing's out of place, they're going after you, saying that you threw it out on them or you stole it.
Jesus
So, knowing that was getting a rim tire, I just drove it in like that. Ding, 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 ding. And everybody staring at me. They're like, I think you got a flag. I go, I know. Everything's fine. But like the dog sitting around fire, everything's fine. It's okay. But they're like, so you can't fix that. I'm just looking at him like, no, the sidewall's peeled apart. The rim's blown apart. It's not gonna seal.
God.
Okay.
Just plaster the rim or something. Call it a day. They would
But
know
it's
the
like-
difference.
I don't know what caused that. If it was a pothole, or there's potholes in Buffalo that could eat a child.
There's a shit ton of those.
There was a picture a while, either last spring or 2 springs ago. Somebody put a City of Buffalo garbage can in the pothole, and the lid was just poking out.
What?
It's bad down there, dude. They don't give a shit.
Because there's also a video where when they were doing the coal patch last week, instead of rolling it or using the tool to pack it down, these city workers were using the truck's tire to press the whatever that shit is, the crushed up Oreos, into the pothole. It's like, that stuff's just sticking to a tire of the truck and not actually filling the hole at this point. Because when you properly cold patch, you're supposed to put a cone on there or something so people don't drive over it. So it can set firm up. No, why do that?
Yeah, I don't travel into the city much.
Me neither.
Oh, neither, thank God.
I stay away from it like it's the plague, because, like you said, like potholes everywhere. It's
Bailey.
Bailey Ave. That Bailey Avenue Speedway.
oh god. Honestly, going in. So my opinion of like driving in the city of Buffalo is like playing Minesweeper.
Mm-hmm.
you don't know what's gonna happen until you're like 5 feet away from it, and then you have to swerve.
My one friend has a shop on Bailey Avenue. And when I had a certain schedule, I had weekdays off, I go over there, hang out with him, give him a hand. And Bailey Avenue is a minefield of potholes, we all know this. And I'm watching these cars just fly 50, 60 mile an hour, just... You can watch the wheel just go... It's like, man, I want to know what kind of suspension components he's running. That the wheel doesn't go...
Did they ever fix that pothole when you go over the bridge to get to the light to, I think it's Walden, Bailey and Walden? I remember going over the last bridge, and there's a giant pothole in the left lane.
I think that was Bailey and Broadway.
Or Bailey and Broadway.
Yeah.
Huge freaking pothole, dude. Like,
I think they did.
I've smacked that a good amount of times.
I know which one you're talking about, because I hit that one a few times.
Because, like, literally, you're going up the bridge, and then as soon as you start coming down, it's like right there.
It's right where the bridge meets.
You have no time to really...
And you usually can't, because there's someone in a Nissan Altima with a spare on it, missing half the front bumper, flying right past you, because that's how Bailey Avenue is. It's once again labeled on my buddy's phone as the Bailey Avenue Speedway.
Jesus.
Yeah, dude, it's bad.
Oh,
yeah.
That is nasty. And speaking of certain cults around cars, the big one that tends to bother me a little bit. I don't know why people do it. I've tried doing research on social media or Reddit or just internet in general. Is why do people put those rubber ducks on their dash? More specifically, Jeep people. The rubber ducks, like that's the thing. That's
understand. A recent thing, because before it used to be CJs, Wranglers waving at each other. Now everybody with a Jeep waves at each other. Then it went to ducks, and what's next? They're gonna all meet up in parking lots and start touching each other. But there's a funny story with the Jeep wave. I was doing a used car check on a Gladiator. And with our used car checks, we have to test drive them. I'm driving this thing. I'm at a four-way stop. Some guy at Wrangler, he's like waving his arms this and that. He was doing the Jeep wave to me. I don't like Jeeps. I got this thing because I needed something to do. I am sitting there, this guy is like having a stroke, trying to get my attention. And I look at him as I drive past him, and he starts, doing this. I was like, I'm not a Jeep owner. I'm not waving at you. I don't know you. Like, I understand, you wave at somebody, hey, I like what you're driving.
Stranger
like, when I was driving, when I had my Mustang, the Mustang wave was a thing. You see somebody, you flick up the peace sign like this with your hand on the wheel. Usually people did it back. Because it's like, oh, I like what you're driving. But Jeep people are, like, evolving from a simple wave to the rubber ducks. My father has a Wrangler that he tows behind his RV. He printed out on a piece of paper, don't leave your ducks on my dash. I'm not part of this cult following. I am not interested. But thanks for saying you like what I drive.
Yeah. No, honestly, every time I see a Jeep Wrangler or something along the lines of that, it is just it's the rubber ducks that really bother me.
Yeah.
Like it's just
they're all over the dashboard, and
Doesn't tickle your fancy, huh?
There was a little Jeep dealer that would give Wrangler owners duckies with their service visit. That was kind of a cool marketing thing.
Wait, I couldn't find anything like that when I was looking for it.
But one in Williamsville there on Transit does it.
Huh.
They were doing it for a bit. But the duck thing came off of the wave of, hey, I like what you're driving. And they give a little gift. And some of the ducks are kind of cool. Like, the people that actually spend the money and get, like, the non-traditional duck, like, there's a spaceman one. There was
Yeah,
one I
like
forgot.
cool non-generic shit. Yeah, that's
my
cool.
my dad's in Arizona, and somebody put a Mexican one, and he kept that one. He really kept that one because it was funny. He goes,
Tell me it had a sombrero.
yes. And somebody put that one on, because usually they leave on their wiper cowl. And my dad is like, I was gonna just throw it on the ground and keep going, but this one's kind of cool. He kept it.
Hell yeah.
But, that cult following thing, some of the cult followings are cool, like the Honda Groms or whatever the mini motorcycles are.
Dude, I love Groms, dude.
I remember back in the day going to car meets, there would be a squad 50 deep of them. And they wouldn't stop and park. They just all roll through the lot together and peel off. Some of them do like wheelies, and there was the one guy who would literally pick it up and just run around revving it. And it was like, those people were cool. Because it was just all a bunch of guys. Oh, we all have motorcycles. Let's ride together. That is a good cult following. Then you have, the Mustang people are very toxic with each other. Because, I had a Fox body. And a bunch of people were dead said, oh, Fox body is shit, this and that. But drove an SN95, which was an updated version of the Fox chassis. And they're like, Fox bodies are garbage or bad chassis, this and that. I'm like, you have an SN95. It is the same car underneath as my 92 LX. Oh, no, it's not. It's different. It's a different body style. I said, no. Look up suspension components.
Why does everything bolt up?
Yeah. Why is this control arm kit for a 79 to 04 excluding Cobra cars, which were independent rear suspension? I wonder that.
Going back into our cult, I wouldn't say cults, but our cult followings behind certain things. You were just going on about the Groms.
Yeah, Groms, Mustangs, Jeeps.
Like their followings are so religious when it comes to them. Like it's I don't view it as a bad thing. Because I think it's cool. I think like cult followings around certain cars or certain activities with the cars are cool because
JDM.
Yeah, JDM
Old school
cars.
JDM, man. I mean,
There's a lot of cool JDM stuff.
oh, dude.
And when people bring out the really
So much.
unique stuff, like, the Skyline, the right-hand drive Supra, so overplayed because that's what everybody reached out to grab.
Okay, so I don't know if this video is going to be released first or RB2J videos. We have our RB20.
But
We have an
I'm not talking
versus
bad
2J
about the
video
engine.
that's going to be coming out. We don't know if this is going to be first or after that. But it is a video. We pretty much all agreed that the RB is the better choice. Now, when it
Like,
came
I'm
to,
not taking away from the engine. I'm just saying the cars that people are bringing over. Everybody's bringing over Skylines, Sylvia, Supras, all of those. But all the little oddball cars spark my interest more now.
What, like the AZ1 or the
The crowns and all the
Mr.
cool.
I hate AZ1s, but they're cool.
It is.
Just like
I don't hate them.
But the cool
just like when we
oddball
talk-
cars.
Just like when we talked about the AZ1 and the smart car, like the AZ1, dude. I mean, you could swap so many different things into that and just make it so cool,
yeah.
dude.
I want to make it abundantly clear. I don't hate the AZ1.
Those
I
are
just
cool.
hate the fact that I can't fit in one.
Well, our first video proves otherwise when you were talking mad shit about it. But anyway,
It's like a Miata. If I sit in a Miata with the seat back, my forehead is over the windshield.
I got a question for you. BRZ, G86, whatever the hell it is, Toyota. You know the car I'm talking
Yeah,
about.
the
Or
BRZ.
Miata. What are you taking?
Oh, that's tough. So I'm not a fan of either one.
BRZ.
I go with the B. I actually would say BRZ because
Miata.
I can fit in a BRZ. Miata wise, it's tight.
Okay. If getting into it wasn't an option, what would you actually take?
BRZ.
If you could fit.
Honestly, you guys are gonna make fun of me for this. An NA Miata, the first gen with the pop-up headlights, because I like pop-up headlights. I'd be that guy who just sit there and just play with it the whole time while driving. Headlight go up, headlight go down. Headlight go up, headlight go down.
I'm just gonna say it now. I mean, the Miata is way more reliable. Generation.
Reliability, yes. But
That's the
I
thing.
hate to say it. I like the
Convertible
body
option.
lines on the BRZ. way
They're
better.
sharp.
I will
but
agree that
they
I will agree-
overhyped the car.
I will agree that the BRZ platform looks better,
I think they
Looks-wise?
overhyped it.
but it's that Boxer is just even when they upgraded this generation with the 2.4. I mean, it's still slow
They're
as
slow.
shit.
They're slow.
And I
They
feel like
handle all right.
like the Miata handles boost way better than a naturally aspirated Boxer motor from Subaru.
So I have a feeling Mazda made good 4-cylinder engines. They really
Hell
did.
yeah, they did.
Mazda made a lot of cool stuff.
The Mazda Speed 3.
Speed 6.
And it's a shame seeing that brand kind of die in the States. But they also...
That new inline 6, though.
But here's the thing. Mazda strayed away from performance. And I think it's a consumer issue. It wasn't the brand issue with the rotary engines.
They're bringing them back, dude. What do you mean? I'm excited for that one.
But they died off
Until
because...
I see it in something production-wise and see it out there, I don't know about that.
Yeah. But
But what
the
you're saying
consumer
is true.
became dumb over the years. And I know that's going to really stir up a lot of people.
But it's not wrong.
And that was the downfall of the rotary, where you had to add the oil to your fuel.
What was the RX-8? It was a Genesis.
Yeah, the Genesis engines.
Yeah.
I will say those motors are garbage.
Mm-hmm.
But
With
the old school RX-7, that rotary,
13B,
13Bs,
the 12A.
those were good.
And FD is still on my bucket list.
Oh,
But we can't deny that the RX-8 and the Genesis motor was
That
absolute
was
piece of shit.
That was just, times were changing. The fad of rotary was dying off because people didn't understand how to own them, drive them. Because those are designed to spin high RPM a lot. And most people, it's like people that buy Corvettes, were driving them and babying them.
It's not a car that you baby.
Yeah,
No.
I was gonna say, I feel like
And it's
especially the Genesis from the RX-8 is more on par with like the reliability and wanting to be beat on like a 6.0.
yeah.
You baby a 6.0 Power Stroke,
Yeah.
they don't like that shit.
No. From a prime example of my one buddy, he had a beautiful 6-liter King Ranch F250.
Absolutely beautiful truck.
Anytime he babied it, it would act up. He'd go out there and pound the snot out of it. It was happy. It was like that, that girl that's really quiet, and then you
God.
start to get to know her,
Oh, God.
and then she's like, "Oh yes, choke me, daddy," on the
She's
first
a real
night.
freak. Is she a real freak?
Yeah, she into that. And then,
She classy, prude, and shy in the
No.
streets, but in the sheet, she's a freak.
Oh yeah, that's a 6-liter Power Stroke in my opinion.
Oh.
It's the hop at, it's like, "Oh, hit it harder, harder, yes." Ah!
Jinkies.
Oh my God! Why do you have to add that part in, Tim?
This is
Got
fun.
you all laugh.
No, now the rotary. Oh God, hold on. Give me a second here. Oh,
I mean, I love them all. Don't get me
Mhm.
wrong. Even the piece of shit Genesis that we're talking about, or is it the Genesis or Renaissance? I'm pretty sure it's Genesis.
It's one of the two, and
People aren't gonna know what we're talking about.
I don't know, but
We'll do some digging. But
I still
think
give
people
respect
know,
to people that drive them and do the
Oh,
right stuff.
100%.
Because
and
that
that
is
maintain
such,
them and keep them, and you know what
you
I
know,
mean. Like,
it's,
I still
they're
respect
kind of
it.
a headache to own, and once again, the consumer got lazy,
And
they
they're sexy cars too. I mean, I know
they
looks.
were-
I know looks are subjective, but I think the RX-8 is a
Yeah,
great
it's
looking
a
car.
awesome looking car.
And I love the little. Was it a 3-door?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was like an extended cab truck
Yeah.
style.
But
But no, I like the cult following behind rotaries is like
That is
They're-
alpha male.
I
They-
get it.
They are
I get it.
diehard.
Mm-hmm.
And with people like Rob Dom doing what they're doing with the Rotary community, like building these cars up, showing that it is possible for them to become successful.
That build
And-
is so that build is so just
Oh my god!
insane.
There
Like
is
his car, Ahura. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that properly. I'm probably gonna get destroyed in the comments about it. But his car, the all-wheel drive four-rotor, that 1,800 horsepower to all four wheels, like that car is phenomenal. And now his new build
Mhm.
with the triple four-rotor engine that is all tied together, making it in all actuality a 12-rotor with 3 turbos that he's gonna put in a top fuel drag car.
That's gonna be sweet.
That
That's
like I can understand why Rotary people have the mentality they do, because when I'm not a Rotary owner by any means, but when I saw that, like, man, tents were being pitched.
Yes.
Like that is just like sheer insanity.
I love them. I don't think I would ever own one personally,
Oh,
but
I
There's
would own
there's a
one.
cool
but they're freaking
couple
sweet,
of
man.
cool
They're so
rotary
cool.
swaps around here. I know there's a Ranger kicking around,
Wait,
or
what?
it's the Mazda variant, the
B2000.
B2000, 3000, whatever, because those all went whatever engine it had in it. But there's a Mazda pickup, the Mazda Ranger.
Yes,
with
you're
one.
right. Isn't it the gray one?
Yeah, that
And
thing's
it's
been
lowered?
around.
That thing's been around forever.
And then
That
there's
thing
I don't know
is
about
sick.
this.
There's a
But dude, again, Sonic, man. That dude used to go there all the time with that thing. That
there's
thing is sick.
I'm
as
trying
shit.
to. It's like a late '70s, early '80s Toyota Corolla with one that I
Really?
saw at the Kaz car show.
Is that the yellow one, right?
I think it's red.
I don't know about these cars then, and you know what?
And
I know about the Mazda pickup because I've seen that at Sonic several times.
Sonic
and that
Body
thing-
Shop
that
when there
thing
were
is
meets there.
freaking sweet, dude.
Oh god, don't even bring up the body
They
shop.
sound
Ugh.
great. Hey, at least at the body shop though, we could hang out. It was a car meet, and
It was a
go
it was
inside
a
and grab a brew.
it was a cool. It was a good environment for a car meet though, because everybody was there and hung out. That's what I liked about it.
That's cool.
I've never personally been to a body shop meet, but I've heard stories, and I wish I would have gone at least once
Mhm.
to one of their meets.
Because the guy that started the meets there, he was a DJ for the club.
Oh,
And he thought, oh, let's get people there for a place to hang out. Because that's when cruise night started getting really weird. If you guys remember,
Yeah.
cruise night at the track, when they started implicating certain rules, no body rust, can't have a dirty car,
Oh, and then they started implementing like
the
10
entry fee.
$10 entry fee. Wasn't it 20 some dollars?
But
at one
in
point?
protest to
Like,
that,
it was $15 for a car, and then $5 per person in
Like-
the car.
when that happened, it was kind of like that guy's middle finger to the track, because
Well, and that's another reason why. And again, we have a video posting, or that's going to be already posted by the time this video's uploaded. But we had a whole thing talking about Sonic and everything.
yeah,
Yeah,
And a
when
I
lot
wish
of
I was
people
there
would
for that
go
one.
to Sonic
yeah.
on Wednesday nights.
when VA bought the track, that's when things started
Well-
going downhill.
When
But when it changed ownership recently, that's when it kind
it
of
got
like,
better.
yeah.
But what sparked all that was the one fight where somebody found a 2x4 on the ground, was
Oh my
whacking
God.
people with it. That's what started the first shutdown, and then all the rules. And I understand they want to keep it. They always wanted the track to be family friendly. I understand that, and
Wednesday
I fully
nights,
agree.
Wednesday nights, they're not family friendly. I'll tell you that.
But-
I
right
mean, okay,
But they wanted the cruise nights to be civil, people to show up, hang out, run their cars down the track, whatever. But then it turned into a fight club,
yeah.
and that was the downfall of it.
It most certainly did turn into a fight club.
I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say it's not family friendly, because like you can still bring your friends along, still have a good time. It's
Mhm.
just certain
A
crowds.
dude literally brought his car in and had guns
Yeah.
in his car.
And that's on the
during
security.
one of the times.
Yeah,
That's before they started really checking cars and shit. But it still happened. Dude, I have kids. There's no way in hell I would ever bring my kids there on a Wednesday. Absolutely not.
It's going back to the conversation of who you surround yourself with. That's
Surround
Right.
yourself with you. Okay, there's a point of hanging out with just your crowd, in where you park, but 9 times out of 10 we're still walking around the track. So you're still associating kind of nonchalantly with all the other people that cruise night
Yeah.
brings in.
And I always run into a bunch of people I know at cruise night. It's, we'll be walking to the end of the strip to watch the Burnout Box, where people are getting ready to stage. On the way there, you bump into people and that's what I liked about it. It's, you go there with your group, and then you find people, sometimes it's 5-6 years you haven't seen them. Or it's been a couple years, like when I went to ECC for automotive, everybody in my classes, they were all car guys.
Yeah.
And bumping into them down the road, this one got married, or one opened his own shop, the other finally got that project that clogged the bay in school all year, finally got it finished 5 years later. That stuff was cool. Just, I like walking around and seeing people's builds, talking about them.
Yeah, don't get me wrong.
It's just certain crowds that kept funneling in were ruining the fun for everyone else.
Yeah,
and that happens. That happens everywhere, even outside of car stuff.
Yeah, that's true.
Again, the glory. I think personally, the glory days of the car community around here, at least, were what 2016 to 2018, 2019.
2016 up until COVID was the dying phase. I hate to sound like it. That's when the old ways that we all got into, 3 of us got into the scene into. Those were the dying days. I hate to say it, really was.
Wow.
Prior to that, it was my best friend was saying the days with Exchange Street and Babcock when it was new and everything else, the Duffs and West Seneca had a cruise night.
Tim's Meats.
Yep.
Tim Hortons on Broadway.
That was always a after cruise night thing.
Yep.
Tea Leaf.
Yeah, the old Tea Leaf. People still show up at Tea Leaf, and it's not the same.
It's that crowd is.
It changed a lot up there.
Yeah,
It's sad.
That is a meet that I personally would not go to.
But it's watching the Facebook posts in the groups and seeing if the older names come out, it's worth going.
Yeah, absolutely. And frankly,
but a lot of those people, the people that I first met going into the scene, they're married, they have kids, houses, they grew kind of out of it. And not saying this in now we have more to lose mentality, but that's what it became.
I don't even think it's just that. I think the older crowd just grew up and then saw the younger generation just screwing everything up.
But what our car community went to was showing up somewhere. A good example, I know you guys probably brought up Sonic and probably this, but everybody would park their cars. Nobody would be separated at all in the group. Everybody would go right by Goodwill, and there'd be a circle of like 25, 30 people, and everybody's talking together. That's how it was.
Yeah, like we brought up in the previous video. I mean,
and now
everybody was cordial.
Mm-hmm.
There was no, from my remembrance, no fighting. Nobody was.
And if it was,
doing shit,
it was settled personally, one-on-one, away from it.
Yep.
And it just turned into, I don't want to put the blame directly on the new kids, but there were so many kids that came in that were, I'm better than you because I have this, or I'm better than you because of blah, 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 irrelevant things. And a lot of it was outside cars. that they were just,
There's just
this
ego.
I'm better than you.
Huge egos just got involved.
The I'm better than you attitude because blank is the problem.
Yeah.
We're here for a common cause, a common hobby. That's what I believe is what made it great. When everybody didn't care. Who cares that your car makes 800 horsepower and his car makes 200? Who cares? You like cars? Right? You like cars, I like cars.
I like cars.
Let's talk cars.
Exactly.
I like what you got. Yeah, it's different from mine. I'm not a fan of, this or that, but if I see it, I appreciate somebody has a love for something.
And you
Exactly.
appreciate the amount of time, energy, and money they put into their build.
Like when I had my Mustang, you guys remember it came from the South. The paint was hammered because it's had an Alabama sun for 20 years. I remember going to a Cars and Coffee, and the one guy, it was strictly the one detailing company in charge, goes, "I'm gonna have to have you park with the normal spectators because your car doesn't look good." I looked at him right in the eyes. I said, "Why does that matter?" I said, "I put this car together with my best friend. I took a car that was nothing and made it into something."
It wasn't
and
even bad looking. It looked fine. No
yeah,
rust.
No, well, once again, you had certain people that got nitpicky, and that crashed me a little on that. That hurt my heart because it's like, if he knew the story of that car and what was done with it, and the times I went through when I was working on it, maybe it would have been a different story. He would have let me in, but that car was like working on that car was my escape from the personal downfalls of my life that time.
And the thing is with that car too is like, yeah, it had some sun fading.
The paint
the
was
paint.
ugly. The hood
Like
was
there was
blue.
exactly that.
Yeah.
There was some sun fade.
The
and
wheels were beat up, like whatever.
the hood
but
was a different color, but I mean at the same time it wasn't a clapped out piece of shit either.
Like
you couldn't finger the fender or anything fun like that.
No rust.
Yeah.
yeah, no, Cars and Coffee, it's like that is another meet where I truly love going to it, but a lot of the people who like dictate what happens in that meet just don't understand. Like they judge a book by the cover because they're so used to seeing $400,000, $500,000, $600,000 cars.
Yeah, high end exotics.
My
Exactly.
my pile of crap that's sitting in the garage with $20,000 worth of work into it, and it looks like crap on the outside, but underneath the hood, it will make a Lamborghini Aventador humble itself.
Yeah. But once again, you get certain people that view cars as furniture. Or as an accessory. I guess it's hard to say. Like some people may look at Chevy as what's a cheap brand purse, and then Cadillac as Louis Vuitton. A lot of people view cars as status,
Yeah.
and they
100%.
look down at. You got a lot of people that look down at older vehicles. They go, "Oh well, this is from 1985. It's not cool." And drool over a 2024 that's worth $100,000, but somebody took the time and the money and more than what that brand new $100,000 vehicle is, keeping this 85 alive. Like,
Yeah.
people don't appreciate that kind of passion and love for something.
This is from a personal experience of mine. I'm not going to say where it was. I'm not going to say the event. But I can definitely tell you that I immediately became irate when this situation arose. Somebody with a 1955 Chevy 210. We all know it's the classic Bel Air body style. But this car was beautiful. Absolutely gorgeous. Like it had a satin black paint job, and the wheels were a polished aluminum. But the engine bay, it was somebody took the time to swap in an LT4 and a 6-speed manual into that car. Somebody took a lot of time to do that, and the car is gorgeous underneath.
Oh, I bet.
And it got kicked out of a meet for a bone stock BMW 335i. Like, I get those cars are cool. I get their newer age. I completely understand that. But the moment that somebody who's running a meet or a car show of any kind removes that Chevy 210 for a BMW bone stock, and it looks like it was put through the ringer by Mike Tyson over that Chevy 210, you should immediately lose all credibility. You should not be a part of any future car meets. Like, you do not deserve to have that space if you are going to remove a car of that stature, that status, that amount of work for somebody's pile of crap that they do not care about.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah,
another
that's wrong.
BMW.
I don't care.
That's the thing.
Like, this is where I get mad. Because the moment you start doing that, the moment you start ostracizing that portion of the car community, is the moment you should lose every ounce of credibility you have. Thankful that we had our guest Fish today.
Yeah,
Good to see you.
it's a pleasure to be with you guys.
Oh,
It really
yeah.
was.
And I would very much like to have you on in the future because, frankly, you're funny as hell.
Yeah,
And
for sure. I'd be down to do it again.
your experiences as a mechanic. Oh.
Next time when
Anyway,
Blake's
this
here, I'm
is,
sitting on his lap.
This has been Shift Happens. Have a good rest of your day.
Thank you all for stopping by and giving us a watch or a like. We all appreciate it.
Yep.
I know that much.
Have a good night.